And I would like to begin our introduction of our panel moderator, Suezy Proctor. Suezy joined Toastmasters in 1997. She has served in all leadership roles in her home district in Western Washington, District 32, to distinction. She has served as an international director in 2006 through 2008 and received the Toastmasters International Presidential Citation in 2009. She has served on various committees and campaigns in the years since and has earned 4 TTMs. Wow. Suezy has been an active member of District 77 since 2015. And before we welcome Suezy, I would like to add this request. Please, no additional comments. Time is tight. We want to save all remaining time for the Q&A portion of this session. I really hope you like it. And that it benefits all our members. That is my prayer. Please help me to welcome distinguished Toastmaster, Suezy Proctor.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Hillstrom, and thank you all for joining us tonight for this exciting discussion. We all know how we feel after a dynamic club meeting. Few things are better. We sign off and we're just jazzed and inspired and motivated. We also know how we feel when only a few reliables sign up in advance. And in that situation, some members end up covering 2 or 3 more roles, and member dissatisfaction can creep in, and ultimately we may lose members because of that. Having a solid foundation of engaged members stimulates member growth because prospective members see meetings that are fun and they hear about the great member experience our club offers, which also leads to higher retention, which in turn drives member achievement. Now today, we have 3 experts on the topic of member engagement and retention. Each panelist will present a 5 to 7 minute compelling speech from their perspective and working from a Pathways project. This will be followed by a Q&A session. As moderator, I'm responsible for keeping time as well. Timing rules for standard 5 to 7 minute speech apply. The green will come on at 5 minutes. The yellow will come on at 6 minutes. The red will come on at 7 minutes with the 30-second grace to close for Q&A. Now, the Q&A has 1 to 2 minutes. The green will come on at 1, the yellow will come on at 1.5, and red at 2 minutes to close. No 30-second grace. When the red comes on, you must stop speaking. If we stay in time, we'll have time for 2 questions per panelist or more. So as you listen to each panelist, jot your questions down that come to mind. Please keep your questions short and to the point. What I mean to say is 1 question per question, if you get my drift. Please send your questions directly to me, Suezy Proctor, in chat, not to everyone and not to the panelists. We'll take as many as time allows. This session is being recorded. If your questions aren't answered, please send them to me in an email and I will share them with the panelists as well as any unanswered questions from chat. You'll find my email posted in chat a little later on, just to make sure that everyone is logged in that intended to. They'll have access to the email address as well. So now let's get to know the panel. Roy Ganga, distinguished Toastmaster, current International Director, 2020-2022, past Region 8 Advisor. Roy leads collaborative knowledge sharing sessions with global teams and business constituents, which enables participants to feel better about their skills, and that leads to improved morale and productivity. As an entrepreneur in executive coaching and leadership development, Roy focuses on bridging the gap between employees and management. He trains individuals and teams on the fundamentals of successful team building and leadership development by coaching them on the importance of effective communication, leadership, teamwork, accountability, and delegation. Mary Morrison, Distinguished Toastmaster, Past International Director, 2017-2019, Past Region Advisor, currently serving as Vice President of Membership for 4 clubs, each with a unique proposition for attracting and retaining members. Her experience outside Toastmasters includes recruiting and developing facilitators for racial equity training and leading her church council in listening sessions to re-engage parishioners post-pandemic. And she serves as District 21, that's British Columbia, as their champion to help inspire leaders to do their best. And finally, Rontario, better known as Ron Hicks, Distinguished Toastmaster, Program Quality Director, 2021 to 2022, District 77. Yay, Ron. Ron leads supply chain management efforts for the Department of Defense. Ron holds multiple board chairman and membership roles where he focuses on bringing teams together and using strategic goals of the organizations to enable the how and why they exist and how to achieve success today and into the future. Ron focuses on helping leaders to see themselves while also providing effective communication and leadership. As District 77's Program Quality Director, which has over 64 clubs and spans over 3 states, Ron oversees education efforts and club retention and performs officer roles in 4 other Toastmasters clubs. Each panelist has been assigned an evaluator who, for the purpose of this project, will provide written evaluations only, but from the various pathway projects each panelist is working through. So with gratitude, they are Distinguished Toastmaster Peggy Hill, Distinguished Toastmaster Tamara Hall, both from District 77, and a good friend of mine, Distinguished Toastmaster Greg Sipley from the northeast corner of District 30 near Chicago. Please, let's give them a round of applause right now. We will now begin the panel discussion. Our first panel expert is International Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Roy Ganga. Roy is working from the Leadership Development Path, Project Level 3, Inspire Your Audience. His segment is titled, Mastering a New Skill versus Zoom Burnout. Roy will share with us how to eliminate the burnout and fatigue that we have all experienced in this online platform and focus in on the critical skills we can develop, which are essential in today's environment. Please help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Roy Ganga.
Thank you very much, Past International Director Proctor. District 77, how are you today? Here, you're in for a treat because we have so many wonderful people on the panel here that you're going to learn from. However, this past 2-year hiccup really threw a wrench into our routine, and it definitely had an impact on every one of us. Many of us are moving forward, but there are still a few who are finding it difficult to manage their day-to-day activities. Personal developments were put on hold. And we, as we've tried to rearrange our lives and try to settle into this new environment. However, out of every crisis, there are opportunities. Let's look back at what we knew at the beginning of 2020. the skills and the competencies we perfected, the advances we made in our professional and personal lives, the vision and goals we had in place, and the level of comfort we demonstrated with everything we did. Just like a tornado, this pandemic came and blew all our dreams apart, disrupted our entire lives, and made us have to rethink how we approach the future. After almost 2 years, and we are still trying to get back on this path. We see companies setting new strategies and goals and have accelerated their desperate need to find specialists with digital skill sets. The way they did business have changed as a result of the pandemic, and we must change as well. We were forced to do things different, especially with our Toastmasters journey. Clubs moved to online meetings, a concept that was not heard of much before. This was not easy. The change was met with mixed emotions. Some individuals prefer the in-person setting, while others took this new challenge as an opportunity to learn new skills. Let's look at some of those. How many of us have had the experience to lead online meetings? How many of us knew how to turn this camera into our audience? How many of us knew how to keep an online audience engaged and energized? Not many of us, but we learned these skills and are now more proficient with them. We learn how to center ourselves and stay within focus in this Zoom frame. We learn how to speak into the camera with the same confidence, the same passion and enthusiasm as we did in person. We build rapport virtually, including our ability to practice active listening and engage our audience remotely. We learn how to effectively manage online meetings, and we demonstrated emotional intelligence through empathy and respect. And that's a skill that is identified as a key leader attribute. All of these skills are now crucial for everyone in this current climate. Many companies are now looking for people with these skills, and you are a step ahead of your peers and competitors. This pandemic made us acquire these skills much sooner. On the flip side, we are beginning to feel the burnout. No one anticipated the crisis to continue for this long. At the beginning, the adjustment was fun and temporary, but as the crisis prolonged, we began to feel less excited and more fatigued. One of the reasons is that the human mind is programmed to easily accept new challenges, but find it difficult to flip that off switch. We hop from meetings to meetings by simply logging off and on to a different Zoom meeting without ever leaving our chair. Research has shown we do more work from home, primarily because our commute is not that difficult. We don't have to deal with traffic to and from work. We don't have to leave home early and return late. It's typically just moving from one room to another. Our ability to say no has become less practical, and the fatigue begins to consume us. So how can we eliminate this burnout? First, prepare a schedule and stay focused on your daily tasks. That is, train your mind to work the same way as if you were in the office. Take a break, which includes a lunch break. Block that time off your calendar so no one can schedule a meeting with you during that time. Have specific start and end times for your work. get up from behind the desk and go outdoors for a few minutes. This would re-energize your mind because you are confined to the inside the same space all day. Going outside would definitely make a difference. When it comes to Toastmasters, set aside the time on your calendar to attend your meeting. Try to avoid ending one work meeting and starting your Toastmasters meeting. That is not good. Remember, always take a break in between meetings. These quick breaks will relax you and ease the feeling of a burnout. So ladies and gentlemen, if you incorporate the new online skills you have mastered, along with the simple tips in your daily routine, you will be amazed how different your day will be. Keep in mind that you are in control of your destiny and accountable for your personal development because no one can do it for you. Therefore, it's time for you to reshuffle, refocus, and re-energize your passion for success. Thank you very much. And back to you, Madam Moderator.
All right. Thank you, Roy. Our next panel expert is past International Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Mary Morrison. Mary Morrison is working from the Engaging Humor Path, Project Level 2, Introduction to Mentoring. Her title segment is Mentoring, Retention Magnet. Magnets can be described as an invisible force that pulls or attracts. Your club can use mentoring as the invisible force that pulls or attracts members to your club and stay with your club. Mentoring has 3 powerful elements. It's a benefit that you can provide when marketing your club. It's also a goal guide to help members set and meet their goals. And for experienced members, it is a legacy builder. Today, Mary will share her experiences as a protege, as a mentor, and as a believer in the power of mentoring as a retention magnet. Please help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster, Mary Morrison.
Thank you, Madam Past International Director, Suezy. I'm so pleased to be here with all members from District 77 and beyond. Here's my magnet. You know how a magnet works? It's just like magic. Oh, this one's so strong, I could barely pull the pieces apart. I belong to a weekly club, and we're kind of a run-of-the-mill club is how I would describe us. We meet every week. Mostly people who are attracted to us come from a local geographic area. Frequently, they belong to companies that they're so small, they don't really have a professional development department. So they look to Toastmasters to help them develop their speaking, their communication skills. And they look for something that's fairly convenient. We had a lot of guests that came into our clubs. And over the years, we even had a lot of members that joined the club, but things didn't stick until a couple of years ago when we decided to get serious about using a mentor program. Suddenly, I noticed that when members came in, they would begin, their eyes would light up, and they loved that we were offering them the benefit of mentorship. We promised that we would invest in them if they promised to invest in us. So, like the magnet, mentoring has a lot of different properties that help clubs. I'm going to share 3 of them tonight. Suezy mentioned them. how mentoring helps attract, how mentoring helps retain, and how mentoring builds a legacy. Let's start with attract. My club, Bee Gees, mentioned. When we began a mentoring program and we made the promise to members, suddenly I noticed that they started to come and they were sticking with us for a while. Principe and Scott and David and Julia, they took us seriously. They joined our club. Now, new club members, they don't know really what they're in for. They don't know enough about Toastmasters to know all that we could offer. So offering that club mentoring to mentor a member, they didn't even know quite what that meant, but we told them within 2 weeks of signing up, they would have a mentor, and that would be somebody that would help them and answer all of their questions. We made the promise that we would help them achieve their goals. It worked like magic. It worked like a magnet, actually, because while the connection may be somewhat tenuous at first, maybe they're just hanging on a little bit. As time went on, the connections began to get stronger and stronger. I'm going to share the story of two of our most recent members, Julia and Domi. They came to us for very different reasons. Julia, highly motivated, really knew what she wanted and why Toastmasters was going to help her. I had the fortune of mentoring both of these young women early in their careers, which is a perfect time for Toastmasters. Julia, it took just 1 or 2 meetings with her, and boy, she was already speaking. She was serving as Toastmaster. I no sooner had to show her what the path was, and she was working her way through all of the club roles, so excited about Toastmasters that she recruited one of her coworkers, a woman she was supervising, Domi. Now, Domi came in a lot more tentative than Julia. I also had the fortune of mentoring Domi. Domi wasn't quite sure what Toastmasters could do for her. Her connection to the club was a little bit weaker. It was almost one person removed. She was really there to help satisfy her boss and her boss's desire that she be part of our Toastmasters club. When I started working with Domi, she wasn't certain when she would ever speak, what she would speak about, and she certainly didn't want to take on more of a leadership role like general evaluator or Toastmaster. Over a period of time, though, what I got to know is that Domi, while more hesitant, wanted to master the skill she was in. She wanted to master what it was to be timer, grammarian, and her favorite role, table topics. And when she mastered those, she was ready to move on. The tale of two Toastmasters helped in understanding what their specific goals were and not what goals I might have for them, helped me help them more achieve their goals and in turn help the club. And I saw this happen from member after member. As we accelerated our mentoring program with members, they began to be more serious about what the roles were. They signed up in advance. They stuck with us. When they couldn't come for meetings, they let us know they wouldn't be able to make it. It was a powerful tool to retain members. And some members even went on beyond the club, the legacy of Toastmasters. They started participating in area contests, chairing area contests. As a mentor, I derived great satisfaction from knowing that they were giving back to Toastmasters. I knew how important it was to me when I was a protege to have people just pay enough attention and know that my future was important enough to them that they invested in me. It was kind of scary at times, having as a mentor a past international president. That can happen when you're a region advisor. But I swallowed my fears and said, I need to make the most of this opportunity. And it led to serving as international director and having the opportunity to meet and speak to people all around the world. I'm so glad I took advantage of that. I love being an experienced member and mentoring new members. I hope you take advantage of a mentoring program for you and in your club to make mentoring magic happen. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mary. Our third panelist, I just want to make sure he's here. Rontario Hicks.
I am here.
Awesome. Our final panel expert is District 77 Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Rontario, better known as Ron Hicks. Ron is working from the Strategic Relationships path, Project Level 5, Ethical Leadership, and his segment is entitled, Members Are Everywhere. Ron will focus on how in today's environment, we must find ways to use our networks to find and retain members, because we're all Toastmaster ambassadors, and it's upon us to find the talent within our personal and social media circles to bring in new members that embody our Toastmasters values. Please help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Ron Hicks.
Thank you, past international directors, Suezy Proctor, and our esteemed panel, along with fellow Toastmasters and guests. Our members are everywhere. It's important for us to understand that in a virtual environment or an in-person environment, we don't lose the leverage that we have as Toastmasters. As Margie Kennedy stated, in truth, a family is what makes us whole. As we look at our Toastmaster family, it makes us whole. It makes us part of a tradition or a good family setting. Everybody wants to be a part of something. As we think about the things that we do every day, people want to be a part of something. If it's a clique, if it's a book club, or if it's just a friend to have as you work in your daily lives. It's important to understand how we can use that energy and translate it into our members. As we look at our members, they come in multiple forms. They could be the person at the bus stop that you see every day on your way to work as you catch the bus. Or it could be the person at your swim club that you encounter as you go and swim your laps every day. Or it could be the fellow mom or dad that's at a event with their kids, because we all have had kids in most cases, and people that do have kids, they're at a whole bunch of events. So as you do those events, it's important to use that as leverage to talk about Toastmasters. So one of the things I think about when I think about my community is I'm in a bunch of organizations, but then the people around me are in a whole bunch of other organizations. And that builds my network, and that gives me the room to talk to other members at any given time or place. As we all cross-correlate with each other, there's times when you would talk to Suezy or Pam or Johnny, and they'll say, yeah, I know somebody that needs that. But to encounter that, you have to understand that people have to understand that you are a Toastmaster. So my first thing is inspiration to others. How do you inspire, or how do you show that you're a Toastmaster? Does everybody in your network understand or know that you're a Toastmaster? I think it's important to be able to tell the story that you are a Toastmaster every day. In my circle, people know that I'm a Toastmaster. I make sure that I post my Toastmaster time on social media. I also take time to use my LinkedIn profile, and I also do other things to make it apparent that I am a Toastmaster. Next thing is, are people inspired by the work that you do? If they are, they might ask, well, what made you so confident about the things that you do every day? I can say easily, Toastmasters helped me get there. And how did Toastmasters help me get there? Why, let me tell you about it. Toastmaster has 16,000 clubs across the world, and you can join anywhere and any place, which allows me to use my voice to become more of a better leader, more of a confident person, and just lead with confidence in everything that I do. Are people in awe of your speaking capability? A lot of times people gravitate to people that have that strong instrument of a voice that we all use to bring people forward. As we look at that, people are speaking, they'll say, well, how did you learn how to speak? Another great time to say, I am a Toastmaster. So using those things are very important as you're inspiring others to do things. And last but not least, become a member of your club. Hopefully, as you talk to people, you will say, are you a member? How can Toastmasters benefit you? And I'm always happy to tell people, how does Toastmaster benefit me? So I start with my first story. My first story was that, if you know me, I'm a military officer, I'm retired, and I brief people all the time. I brief hundreds to 300 to 1,000 troops. But the difference is, as a soldier, you have to listen to me, whether I'm good, bad, or indifferent. But as I go through, you can't say anything to me. So I didn't understand how good or bad I was at speaking. I was terrible at speaking. I'll tell you up front. As I continued to move forward and I got to the end of my career, I joined Toastmasters because somebody had the courage to come to me and say, Ron, I think you could benefit from Toastmasters. And the first thing out of my mouth was, what is Toastmasters and why do I want to join something else to be a part of? Said, funny you asked that question, which is the same way I lead everybody else into. So my first speech was this speech that I went on a charade about how great I was, and I went over my minutes. I busted it by 9 minutes for my speech. Needless to say, I failed at that station. So I needed to come back, regroup, think about it, and then I redid it. And I was a lot more focused and I was a lot more poised about it. I used to also grab my lecturing, and I used to hold on for dear life, about to cry, just saying, please, just let me finish my speech. Sweating bullets and everything, the whole nine. But at the end, Toastmasters helped me get over that fear, and I continue each and every day. So then John Ford leaves us with speaking in public. You can speak well if your tongue can deliver the message from your heart. So I always say, when you try to find potential Toastmasters, speak from your heart. Tell a story. Talk about why it's important to be a Toastmaster. And then don't be afraid to tell your journey. Everyone's failed or everyone's succeeded. You can't succeed unless you keep failing to be and get better at it, because you took the time to recognize your strengths and weaknesses and become better for that. I would tell you, as we talked about re-engaging members and having our own members, it's important to talk to our members that we currently have so we don't lose them, but also go out and find potential new members. So as people show up to your meetings, have a gentle smile. Just speak. Just be happy about that you're there, and your energy will flow forward and everybody will love you for it. Next, be kind. It's too easy to be kind. It only takes a few seconds of your time. Hey, ma'am, how are you? Welcome to our meeting. And then have great energy with it. People love it. And then next, don't give up. Don't give up on the small things. Just because you don't have members coming, don't give up. Ask people to keep coming, and your club will succeed, and you'll have 10 to 20 members. Don't compare yourself with the past. It's easy to get in a rut and think about the past and say, in the past, we did this and it didn't work. You never know unless you continue to try. And now I want to leave you with this. Our members are continuing to be everywhere, and you just have to go out and find them. They're there waiting on you to come and shake their hand and just say, I'm here, and I'm here to help you be better and a better Toastmaster. Ted Turner said it best. Go to bed early, ensure you have your rest, start with great energy, and then be early to rise. Use that with work independently to make sure that you're your best and make your best better every day. With that, fellow Toastmasters, I hope I gave you a little bit of enlightenment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Wow. 3 great panel presentations with vastly different perspectives. At this time, we're going to open the Q&A session. Remember to please, if you have any questions, put them in the chat directed to me personally, and we'll get to as many as we can. I do see one question in there at the moment. Someone is wanting to know what Mary's second and third values of mentors were. Well, the three of them were a benefit, a goal guide, and a legacy builder. A benefit, a goal guide, and a legacy builder. Our next question looks like it's going to Roy. Roy, how have you managed the online fatigue?
Good question. Thank you, moderator. And I spoke about this in my presentation, right? The things that you need to do. And I found that the most critical thing to do is get away from behind your desk, because we are glued to this area. You know, I'm in a room here and I can be in this room 24 hours if nobody don't call me out of it, because there's so much more we can do. And that's what builds the fatigue. So in order for you to manage it, and I mentioned there that you have to have a schedule and stick to that schedule. You have to be able to get up, move out, go outside, go for a walk. Because if you're still behind that computer, somebody's going to ping you. Somebody's going to want you to do something else for them. And you're putting a lot more into that. So the thing that you want to really focus on is making sure that you can step away, take a break, relax yourself, clear your mind, because that's the part that gets confused, right? Is that fatigue steps up there and you don't know how to control it. You have to learn how to throw that off switch and say, enough is enough for the day. I'm going to move on, because tomorrow it's still going to be there and I'm going to get back there. So we want to make sure we can control that. Simple, get up and move around and walk around a little bit. And you'll find that you're going to be very, very relaxed. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Good advice. Excellent advice. We have a question for Ron. This person wants to know, is it appropriate to mention that you are a Toastmaster at the end of each speech? Can you recruit members outside of your district?
I will answer that by saying, at every speech, I don't know if Toastmasters is the right way to use it. You just have to figure out where's the right place to put it at. A lot of times it's just in general conversation, because people are curious naturally about different things and why and how you are the way you are. And that's a perfect time to mention, I learned to do Toastmasters. It doesn't have to be apparent in a speech. It can just be apparent in your poise, in your conversation. Or if somebody around you needs additional help, I think you could use the Toastmasters in your daily life. Or you would be a better briefer if you didn't say so many or so's, and then that would intrigue their interest to maybe join Toastmasters, and you can lead it that way.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Okay, we have a question for Mary. Mary, how do you find mentors for members of a new club?
Mentors, as in a club mentor, or mentors for members of the club?
How do you find mentors for members of a new club?
Oh, that is such an incredibly good question, because it can be a tough challenge to find mentors for new members when all members are new. Typically, there are the sponsors or the club coach or the club mentors themselves are connected to clubs, and they would be the first resource that I would tap. I would ask them if they knew of a couple of people within each of their clubs who could serve as a mentor for some of the new members. And I would then ask, maybe they would take on more than one person. So if you've got 20 new members in a club, a brand new baby club, maybe they could do multiple person mentoring. 30 minutes every couple of weeks is about what it really takes. That's my first source I would go to.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. We're getting a lot of questions, and that is exciting. Roy, what if your boss schedules the meetings? How do you control your schedule?
If you're anything like me, I will tell your boss. Never mind. Let me.
I'm like you.
You just have to be. You have to be strict with your schedule, because think about it. When you're in the office, you have time to get up. You have to go to the bathroom. You get time to maybe go take a break somewhere and get coffee. You get time to go to lunch. When you are working from home, you are so programmed to sit behind a computer and get things done because you want to get it done. And you take it for granted that you're in your own house, that you don't even get up and have lunch. And I know that for a fact because it happened to me. My wife is the same thing. I have to call her many times and say, honey, it's time for lunch. Aren't you going to go out and take a walk a little bit? Let's go do it, right? Once you do not abuse the time that you are working, so if you're putting the same amount of hours in or even more, but you are controlling your break as well, you're controlling your mind, and you have to let your boss know, if I was in the office, I'd be having lunch right now. If it's that critical, I will shift my lunch time so that I can meet with you. If not, let me have lunch and then we'll meet after lunch.
Good advice, Roy. I think like you. Ron, when you answered your last question, your voice broke up. I'm not exactly sure what you're using for your mic, but your question is, are there specialty clubs in which we can use as a model to grow other clubs?
I might need some help on this from the rest of the panel, but I would say the model, I would use your advanced clubs as a model. Maybe your advanced clubs are good, or some of your stronger clubs within your district would be good models to go and watch, just to listen and see how they do business, because all of the strong clubs in the district, they're doing something right, or they're doing something well, and not meaning that you weren't doing something well, but you could always try other cultures, other countries. You can go all over the world, especially in our virtual environment. And I would applaud you to do that and just see how other people do business and take away, or as sometimes we say in our world, just steal what you like and leave the other stuff behind, and just use those to gain members. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Okay. Next question. Wow, these are good. This doesn't have anybody assigned to it. So I'm going to go back to you, Roy. What questions do you ask to find a person's goals when the person doesn't know their goals?
That's interesting, because we all have goals, we all have aspirations, but it's very difficult for people to do it. And I'm going to use my personal experiences here, because I really didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I was working because it gave me the dollars to pay the bills, right? Was it something that I was happy doing? I eventually got to love what I was doing, but now that I'm retired, I found the passion. So what you need to do, what the individuals need to do, is really sit back and say, okay, what is it that I really am happy doing and I want to do? And then set your goals around that. So if it's working, you like what you're doing, make sure, again, you sit down there and say, okay, what is it that I would like to accomplish this year? And a lot of people do New Year's resolutions. So this is very timely, right? A lot of people do their New Year's resolution and plan for the year. So you sit there and plan for the year. Just write everything that comes to your mind. And then you can go back in and wean out the ones that really don't add value to your life. At the same time, look at the people you associate yourself with, because those individuals will help you achieve your goal.
Is that it? Okay, awesome. Manage this timer here. Okay. All right, Ron. What techniques are you aware of to add an in-person aspect to a weekday lunch club that is currently virtual only? We have recently added small get-togethers on the weekend.
That's a different kind of question. I would say I'm in a lunch club, and it's really hard to keep the energy on as you move through your weekly meetings, because sometimes people just are really busy and they're burned out because they're in meetings back to back, and then they come to your meeting and then they have to hurry up and go back. I would just apply maybe linking up with another club sometimes, or just do something different. Like I sometimes start from the bottom of the agenda and go up to the top, or sometimes we do like a tall tales or table topics that you go through and just have everybody answers the question, but it leads to an end. So just do things that are fun. Maybe use some theme music off and on to get the club started. Just different things. Just bring in the fun and make people want to come back, especially in lunch clubs. It's really hard when we're really so busy in our virtual lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Mary, how do you convince all club members that they would benefit from a mentor? Mentorship is not just for new members.
Yeah, I had that experience this past year. There was a member who'd been a member of the club for about 3 years, and her connection with the club was fairly loose. She was not, she often didn't show up for meetings. So I asked her if she would mind if I mentored her, and then found out what her goals were in the club. To convince other people sometimes works best by being a role model. Having the opportunity to share that I'm being mentored, how many other people I know are being mentored can work, what are the benefits, giving a speech on what are the benefits of mentoring, offering to mentor other people, and then just making it, we finally made it part of our club culture that everyone has a mentor. And that it's taken us a while to get used to that, for people to get into the pattern of it, but it really works. So role modeling, speeches about it, showing that you yourself are being mentored and making it part of your club culture.
That's awesome. Well, you're not going to escape right now, because this is a backup question asked by somebody totally different, but it's on this same theme. So then with all of that, how do you balance the need of the mentor needing to get hers or his check mark for mentoring as part of the program requirement? How do you balance the need of the mentee versus the need of the mentor needing that check mark to finish their program?
I have finally learned, thanks to the Toastmasters Mentor Program, which is fabulous. If you haven't looked into that yet, you can, as soon as you do level 2, you can join that, take that on as part of as a project. I keep a pretty tight schedule for mentoring so that I can fit in a lot, both meeting my own goals and meeting the goals of the protege. We meet 30 minutes every 2 weeks. I ask them what's on their agenda in advance so we can go over it, so I can be prepared, because timeliness is everything. And at the end of the meeting, I asked if there was anything else. What are we going to cover next week? You have to be pretty efficient with your time to both meet someone else's goals and things that are on your own list of things to do.
Thank you, Mary. Roy, you are going to just be absolutely delighted that we have a few guests from Region 13 that I spoke to on your behalf. This question and one of the questions I asked you previously was from one of them. Here's another one. Roy, how long should club officer training be, and what modules are good to include?
Wow. Club officers need to be trained, and how long it takes to train them to get the message across and for them to do a good job is what it should take. You know, we recommended probably 45 minutes to an hour to really get the the guts of the training into them, understanding their roles. It's like going on your job, right? Your professional job. When you get there, you may have an idea what the job is, but when you get there and you start doing the job, you need some training to understand it better and to get better at the job. So our club office is no different, right? Everybody thinks that you come in there, oh yes, I know what it is to do. I've seen everybody what they do. I know what the secretary does, the president, the sergeant at arms. But when you get there, there's so much you need to learn. Utilize the modules that Toastmasters International have out there for each of the specific club officers. Make sure you use that. Then there's some additional modules out there that you can use for, I think it's enhancing your leadership skills, building new clubs, working together as a team. So make sure that you can build those things in, because a group of officers, individually, they're okay. But when they come together, you know, they butt head. So you want to make sure that you can teach collaboration and teach how to run an effective meeting, an executive meeting. You want to make sure that all of them understand that they're there to help guide this club and to make the club get better. So utilize the modules that are out there. Go onto the Toastmasters International website, look under the club officers. There's lots of new modules that just got posted out there. And I can't rattle them off at the top of my head, but I know they're out there.
Awesome. Thank you, Roy. Okay, Ron, we are all struggling to keep our existing clubs active, but we still need to look for possible opportunities. So how do you look for possible opportunities for clubs?
Wow, interesting question. I would say, how do you keep the clubs motivated, the ones that you already have? Is go out and find opportunities. Maybe you still do open houses. Maybe you do virtual open houses. Maybe you post them in different places. I like Facebook Boost, as you boost your club in the Facebook posts, also in LinkedIn. I like LinkedIn because that's a professional place in our virtual society that people look for things to do and look for things professionally. I would tell you, go and look at those things. And then I would also say, don't be afraid to partner with organizations. As you all know, I've kind of talked about this before in District 77, that Rotary Club is partnering with TI. So I've gone to Rotary clubs and talked to Rotary clubs. Go find places that you know people are interested in doing things. Don't be afraid to talk on your job either. People have open houses at their jobs or new member orientation. Go and talk to those people. And then don't be afraid to go talk to your HR. Your HR is normally a powerful source and an advocate for you. So use all those avenues to do the things that make your club stand out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Okay, Mary, this is one question, but it's a stair-step question. The club that I'm coaching has only 9 members. Would you recommend, 1, the coach informing the members of the important value of mentorship, 2, asking all the members to be willing to serve as mentors, and 3, having a mentor assigned to each new member as part of our club program? Do you need me to repeat that?
I think I've got it.
Okay.
Would I, as a coach, inform the club about the value and benefits of mentoring? I think it's a great place to start. If you're a speaker and you're invited to speak, I mean, check with your executive team to see if that's one of the ways that you could be of value to the club. Because they are looking to you to bring in an outside expertise. And if that's one of the ways you could bring in an outside expertise to benefit them, that'd be fabulous. Would I ask all members to serve as mentors? Not necessarily. I have been in Toastmasters long enough to know that there are a few Toastmasters who don't make the best mentors. So I am very careful who I actually ask to mentor, because I want people to have the best experience possible. So use your best feeling. Again, check in with your executive team of that club, because they may have a really good sense and some experience with members who've served as mentors in the past. And the third, would I assign all club members to have a mentor? To the degree possible, absolutely. I so believe in the value of mentoring for building strong connections and retention. Bring in people you know to help serve that role if they don't have people from within the club. Or as I did, I know I took on, for a while, our club was really low membership, and I just took on every new member for about 4 members in a row. I said, I'll do that for our club, and built the capacity of other members to be able to mentor.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Now somebody's very interested in you, Mary. They want to know your name and your position. So I introduced you at the beginning, but I'm going to let you tell them your name and your positions.
So my name is Mary Morrison. I am currently the Vice President membership in 4 clubs in Western Washington and Tacoma, and other parts of Western Washington. I'm a member of District 32, and that is Western Washington and the state of Alaska. I have served as International Director 2017 to 2019. I also was Region Advisor for 2 years and past District Director for District 32, as well as other leadership positions in the district. And I'm serving as a club coach because I am determined to get my 3rd DTM this year and let my friend Margaret Page sign it. Oh, I got a lot of work to do.
You do. You have a lot of work to do. Well, we are now at 5 minutes of the hour, and all good things must come to an end, and our time is fast upon us. It just brings me great joy to thank this panel, this team, distinguished Toastmasters all, Roy Ganga, Mary Morrison, Ron Hicks, and evaluators Peggy Hill, Tamara Hall, and Greg Sipley. And I would be remiss if I didn't also thank you for your participation, logging in and joining in on this conversation, and District 77 for facilitating Zoom and the fabulous promotion of this event, especially Wesley Hillstrom, Club Quality Chair, Jessica Sahavi, Public Relations Manager, and Eric Francois, our amazing graphic designer. Thank you, everyone. This panel discussion has come to an end, and I will return control to our Club Quality Chair, Wesley Hillstrom. You're on mute, Wes.
That's an interesting Toastmaster situation. Suezy, I want to personally thank you for your willingness to serve and putting together such a fine panel. I personally got a great deal from the session. I'm sure everyone did. And again, I thank you so very much.